So this week's video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some exercises that really focus on hip stability. So all these exercises can be done at home, and generally I would start by using your body weight, okay? So they're all single leg exercises using body weight only that you can work on at home, okay? So they're going to challenge your balance, they're going to challenge your hip and your pelvic stability, and all this is really important for obviously controlling movement through the swing. So if you do struggle with kind of any excessive lateral movement, especially into the backswing, it can help stabilise the pelvis. But as well as that, it's giving you the control that you need through the downswing and through a transition, so that you can create more speed, more power, and increase the distance that you hit the ball. So give these exercises a go at home, okay? No weight to begin with, just use your body weight, try and stay as balanced as you can. So this first exercise is one of my favourite exercises to do, okay? So it's what we call a Bulgarian split squat. So you just need kind of like a bench or a chair or just anywhere to elevate your foot. You could even use a sofa, okay? And what that does is by elevating the foot, it allows us just to isolate the front leg, okay? So we're just kind of working on that balance and just trying to strengthen that one leg. So unilateral exercises are really important when we're trying to kind of like iron out any kind of weaknesses between left and right side, okay? So what we're going to do is you're just going to elevate your back leg, okay? Make sure you've got a little bit of distance here, okay? You're going to find it might be quite unstable to begin with, so one thing it does help is develop stability, so you need to make sure that you're engaging your core, you stay nice and strong, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're just going to drop down as low as you can. You might get a little bit of stretch through the front hip and then push back up. So you're really driving through that floor. So put down and push back up, okay? So you're really kind of loading the front glute, okay? Down and push up. As low as you can, down and push up, okay? And I would start by doing about 8 to 10 repetitions on each side. So quite a challenging exercise, so body weight's probably going to be sufficient to begin with. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can slow it down a little bit and have a little pause at the bottom, okay? But also, as you can see, it's helping to improve hip mobility, because the lower you go, the more you're kind of using the movement through the hip, which again is really important in the golf swing. So this exercise, we're going to look at a little bit more of a hip hinge exercise, so using this position, okay? So again, kind of using the hips is really important for setting up in posture, okay? Being able to maintain this position as you swing, obviously through the ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to again go on to single leg, which makes obviously the exercise a little bit more challenging with body weight. And we're going to put a little bit of rotation in just to kind of challenge the stability, okay? So again, if you find that this one's quite challenging to begin with, okay, just persevere with it. Your balance and your stability and your control will improve, but obviously that's what we want to kind of see as a progression with the exercise, okay? So you're going to start on one leg, okay? And what we're going to do is make sure that we're hinging from the hip, okay? So try not to kind of round forward with the upper body. It's really easy to kind of lean with the upper body. We just start with the hips, okay? And you're just going to hinge and kind of reach. Best thing to do is kind of focus on a position on the floor, and then take the arms out wide, okay? And then from there, we're just going to rotate one way, back, and then rotate the other way, and back, okay? Come back up, and back up we come, okay? So it's quite a challenging one, this one, okay? Especially to keep your balance as you rotate away. So you want to, again, feel that the trunk and the core are working quite strong, and you're also going to feel that kind of hip, kind of glute area really kind of working to kind of stabilise, okay? So I'm just going to show you once more. We'll just try on the other leg. So again, onto that toe, pick a spot on the floor which will help you just kind of concentrate. Hinge at the hip, reach. Hinge at the hip and reach. And then take the arms out to the side, rotate one way, back, rotate the other way, back, bring the arms back up, and up you come, okay? As you come up, make sure you're driving with the glutes, driving with your bottom. So the only work that's kind of taking place is around here, and the upper body, we're just kind of moving through the shoulders, okay? So again, with that exercise, probably start around about 5 or 6 each leg, and then obviously as you build the control, you can increase the repetition. The single leg squat, again, is another exercise that is quite challenging to begin with, okay? But again, you have to work on kind of pelvic stability, trunk stability, as well as developing lower body strength, okay? So what you want to do is you want to find something again that you can kind of like sit onto, okay? Depending on your strength and your movement, you might need to kind of increase the height or lower the height. I want you to be able to go as low as possible, but you've got to be able to kind of tap your bottom onto whatever you're sitting onto, okay? So if kind of something this height is a little bit too low, then you can use obviously something a bit higher, or you can kind of just build it up. So generally in the gym, if someone struggles with this height, I would get them onto something a bit higher, or I just put some plates and just load it up and just kind of find the range that they're at, okay? So start at your comfortable range, and then a good way to progress it is by kind of lowering the depths that you're going to sit into, okay? So I'm just going to demonstrate for you. So you're basically going to go onto one leg, okay? And then what we're going to do is you're just going to sit down into the bench and then push back up, okay? See, I'm a little bit unstable there, okay? Drop down and then push back up. So it's quite a challenging exercise. You're really pushing through that glute. And then again, as you can see, I'm kind of trying to battle to kind of stabilise. Obviously that does improve as you go through the exercise and you get more kind of experience and practice at it. Drive up and then lower down and drive up, okay? So like I say, just find a height that's suitable to you, and then as you get a little bit stronger on each leg, just kind of reduce that height, so you're moving deeper through the hip, okay? And that will just help you to progress that single leg exercise. The single leg Kang squat, which is the next exercise I'm going to take you through, is a little bit of a hybrid exercise. So it's between a hip hinge exercise and a squat, okay? So a little bit similar to the starting position that we did in the hip hinge with the rotation, okay, but then we're going to add kind of a little single leg squat into there as well, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to get onto one leg, okay? You're going to start by hinging at the hip, so a little bit like we did in the first kind of hip hinge exercise. So we've hinged at the hip, we're holding that nice and stable, and then we're going to drop down into a squat and then push back up, okay? So it's a hinge, then a squat, and then a push back up. All the time we're trying to stabilise through this pelvis, okay? So hinge, squat, and push, okay? As you can see, I'm keeping my knee and my hip and my ankle fairly in line with each other, okay? Hinge, squat, hold that position and push up, okay? So it's having that control round about the hips. Hinge, squat, low as you can, and push through that floor, okay? So again, I'll probably start with 6 to 8 on each side, obviously then move over onto the other side. Try and hip hinge as much as you can, hold for a few seconds, and then try and squat as low as you can. As you begin, you might only be able to get this low, okay? But again, a good way to notice your progression is that you're moving through a greater range of motion and you're just getting lower in that squat. So the fifth and final exercise that I want to take you through today is a little bit more explosive, kind of in the nature of the exercise, but again, it demands that we use our hips and our core to stabilise, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do some what we call lateral bounds. Now, lateral movement in the golf swing obviously is kind of really important, and be able to kind of transfer weight from the trail foot into the kind of lead foot is really important for generating speed and power in the golf swing, okay? So what we're going to do is work to improve that. So you're going to start on one leg, and I want you to kind of feel like a little load into the hip. So if you watch as I kind of load into the hip, my pelvis and that upper body kind of rotate into that hip. This is staying stable, so we're not kind of opening up out there, we're kind of really getting into that hip, okay, and creating that kind of elastic band that we're then going to kind of release, okay? So you're going to load into the hip and then jump, and then you're going to try and stick the finish, okay, which is quite challenging, okay? And then again, you're going to go other side, so you're going to load in, see I'm like rotating and loading into that hip, push off, drive, and then try and hold that stick, okay? That can be quite challenging to begin with, but obviously if you work on that control, it will improve. Load in, drive out, hold that stick, and then if you feel that you're getting a little bit more control, you can just push and drive, and just try and drive a little bit further, okay? But again, it's just practice, kind of work on that, kind of really work on driving through them hips, loading into the hip, and driving back out, which is obviously quite similar to the kind of movement that we want in the golf swing. Okay, so give them exercises a go, and just try and jump a little bit further and just create a little bit more kind of stability through the landing. So give them exercises a try at home. As I say, they're all body weight, so you don't need any special equipment apart from a bench or something to sit on. In terms of progression, just work on making sure that you've got the balance and the stability to begin with, and try and improve that range of motion through the hips, so trying to get lower into them squat and finishing positions, okay? As you progress, you might find that you want to make it a little bit more challenging, so you can do that with tempo control, so you can kind of slow the movements down, okay? A little pause at the bottom of the movement. Always try and come up with a little bit of speed, because that's where we want to kind of create the force, okay, which is going to transfer into your golf swing. And then the other option as you progress through the exercises is to add some load, so whether you're using kettlebells or dumbbells, that's the next step. But give these exercises a go and work on that, and hopefully you'll see an improvement through your hip stability and improvement in your golf performance.